Hey, everybody. We closed the day on Saturday with the Democrats uh, not really making up much more ground on the Republicans in terms of the overall vote percentage in Florida. We went through some of the county data midday. Not much has changed. I think overall, you see continued Democratic gains in Orange County and Broward County. Orange now well over 50,000 votes, actually closed today at 53,000 votes ahead of the Democrats in terms of ballots cast. Broward is close to 150,000. So that's actually very good, 143,000. Miami-Dade still the same, Republican advantage over 35,000. Duval County, the Democrats picked up brought it under 9,000, that margin today that the Republicans are ahead, which puts them in striking distance. But the gains have been among NPAs and independents, as we've talked about. As of now, there are about 800,000 more ballots cast by Republicans in Florida than by Democrats, registered Republicans than registered Democrats, which is a major warning sign for the Democrats. But we've talked about the NPA run, which is now close to 2 million ballots have been cast by NPAs. The thinking is the NPAs are leaning towards the Democrats. Maybe it'll be as much as a 55-45 ratio, which then means that if the Democrats in theory, if more Republicans cross over and vote for Harris than Democrats cross over and vote for Trump, those are margins too. And we'll go through that probably Monday. And also wanted to go through some of the state house races and the Hillsborough state attorney race and the Osceola Orange state attorney races. Those are very important localized races in Florida beyond the president and U.S. Senate races. Maybe we'll save that for Monday too, because we don't have early voting Monday. But wanted to mention, tomorrow is a day that the Democrats hang their hat on in Florida. The last Sunday of early voting, where early voting is still open in the major urban counties, and souls to the polls. African American churchgoers are bused to the polls after church services on Sunday morning, early afternoon. So where this is going to be a factor in Florida tomorrow. Miami-Dade County north of 8th Street. South of 8th Street, they did souls to the polls last week. So tomorrow you'll see it north of 8th Street. Broward County, there's going to be a big souls to the polls effort, I'm told, in Lauderdale Lakes, Lauderhill, Fort Lauderdale, parts of Miramar. That one surprised me, Pompano Beach and Deerfield Beach. Palm Beach County in West Palm Beach and Riviera Beach. Duval County in Jacksonville, it's going to be very big, I'm told. There's going to be a souls to the polls effort in Hillsborough County and in Pinellas County, in Tampa and in St. Petersburg, in Orlando, in Paramore, in Pine Hills, and other parts of Orange County, and then even the African-American sections of Apopka and other parts of Orange County. I'm also told there is going to be a major turnout effort in Seminole County tomorrow, not necessarily aimed at African-Americans, but aimed at women, independent women, and Democratic women. So we might see Democratic numbers come up tomorrow, and maybe that margin tighten a little bit. I mean, it's 800,000 plus votes statewide. So it's going to, but even if it stagnates and the NPAs continue to pick up, and we talk about this potential NPA spread. One other note I think that needs to be brought up, and we don't talk about other states here, but the Des Moines Register Selzer poll came out in Iowa. It is the one poll I look at, I admit, every cycle, right before the election. I don't look at national polls. I'm not big on polling, as I think we've talked about. I'm much more into looking at data, and I look at polling till a certain point in the cycle, but I look at data after we start getting early voting. But the Selzer poll, she's one of the best pollsters in the country. She's the best pollster in Iowa. She's spot on usually. The Selzer poll, the Des Moines Register Selzer poll, came out this evening and had Harris up 3 points in Iowa, which is shocking. Now, I and Dave Trotter of Voting Trend, both, we made the prediction that we got laughed at when Tim Walz was put on the ticket, that we thought that Iowa would become competitive, that the state it would impact the most was Iowa. Maybe it was partly a defense mechanism to all the people who are saying, oh, she should have picked Shapiro because of Pennsylvania. But we thought Iowa would come into play because Walz is the perfect running mate or the perfect candidate to get kind of your prairie populist types out in Iowa and voting Democratic. There's a long history of that. And of course, it's a state Obama carried twice. It's a state Clinton carried twice. It's a state that Michael Dukakis carried against George H.W. Bush. It was actually a state Walter Mondale, who was, of course, from neighboring Minnesota, like Walz is, ran far ahead of his national average in 1984. So until Trump and Trumpism, it was a state that leaned Democratic in presidential elections. So seeing that number in Iowa in a poll I trust makes me think Florida, all of this stuff that we're getting out of Florida, all of the optimism that I've actually kind of pushed back on against, giving real data and real numbers and saying, look, here are the scenarios. And I even worked it out. I mean, I was even working out stuff on paper today for those of you to see, like numbers from Florida, doing some math to see, how is it that Harris or Mukasey Powell could win Florida? What are the different permutations given the vote? I mean, maybe you can't see the numbers. Numbers are all gibberish, but I've been doing that. I've been spending much of the day doing that when I haven't been doing political stuff, campaign stuff myself. And I'm now thinking, okay, I had put in very conservative scenarios, and we see people like Christopher Bouzy and others who are very credible people saying, look, we see data where 10 to 15% of Republicans in Florida could vote for Harris. I didn't believe that. I said, look, a couple days ago, I think as many Democrats will vote for Trump in Florida as Republicans for Harris. I'm not saying that's the case nationally. I was saying that specifically in Florida because of some specific localized considerations in this state, in various parts of the state. I feared that. But seeing the Iowa poll, seeing some of the stuff moving, that my conversations with Republicans, and also, as I talked about earlier, some of the anecdotal evidence we're getting on the ground in talking to Republicans and nonpartisan voters and women make me think maybe there is a path here. It's a tight path. It's a very narrow path. And the Democrats have a lot of work to do in the next 3 days. But maybe there is still an outside chance, if not for Harris to win Florida, for maybe Mukasey Powell to steal that Senate seat, to kind of come from behind and steal that Senate seat, and at the very least, down ballot to have a major impact and to impact the major ballot initiatives that are on the ballot here in Florida. So we'll be back with you tomorrow. I'll look forward to speaking to you then. Get a good night's sleep, everybody. And we will be back. Thank you for watching.